Those of you that this is your first day with us, I'm Liz and I'm your tour guide for this journey. I've personally gone through menopause and have learned a lot along the way. And I studied and taught yoga for over 14 years, and I've learned many ways to heal the bumps in the road that menopause has caused. And one of the biggest ones that I have been studying for a year with is pelvic floor health and leaking, because I have had trouble with bladder leaking in the past, and I wanted to find out what was going on. And I had been studying actually with one of the premier pelvic floor yoga teachers in the country, Leslie Howard out of San Francisco. She actually is involved in a lot of research with the University of San Francisco, UC San Francisco, and been studying with her with over a year, and just I wanted to pass on a lot of the things that I've learned, not only from her, but also the students that I've worked with privately on pelvic floor health. So glad you're here. A reminder, this challenge is not intended as a substitute for medical advice. A physician, this is not a substitute for medical advice or physicians or healthcare providers. So you should regularly consult your physician in matters relating to your health, particularly with respect to any symptoms that may require diagnosis or medical attention. And I am going to start a live transcript for those of you that would like it. So I'm going to put that on here. All right, let's get started. So review of yesterday, we talked about relaxation breathing is wonderful for the pelvic floor, whether you have a tight pelvic floor or a loose pelvic floor. Remember, both of those are considered weak, or a mixed pelvic floor. You might be tight and loose in the musculature of your pelvic floor. So remembering loose and tight are weakness of the pelvic floor. We talked about Kegels a little bit, about doing Kegels incorrectly. Sometimes, you're just told, well, do your Kegels. And if you have a tight pelvic floor or, pelvic pain, Kegel exercises are not a good place to start, because you could actually make your tight pelvic floor tighter with Kegels. And like I said, Kegel exercises are often recommended for a strong pelvic floor, but they are often done incorrectly with with other musculature around the pelvic floor instead of the actual pelvic floor. So that's a little bit of review from yesterday. The homework for today was to practice your breathing, concentrating on the pelvic floor and diaphragm working together. You could do it either lying down, and I showed an example. So if you see it on the replay, how to set up for lying down, or you can do it seated, actually with a rolled up washcloth, where your underwear is, kind of like where a pad would be. You sit on that rolled up washcloth, and that can give you a lot of feedback on what's going on. The other one is to try and exercise using muscles that connect to the pelvic floor. I talked about yesterday possibly squatting, doing some squats, or high squats or low squats. That's one great one, either, forward, or we call it goddess pose, where it's almost like you're doing a plie, a ballet plie. That's one. Walking, anything that moves the musculature around the pelvic floor is wonderful for the pelvic floor. So that was your homework for yesterday. Any questions here? I'm going to check here if we got any questions, anything, put them in the chat. And if there's no questions, we will get started for today. Pelvic floor strength using visualization and breathing. So what's this all about? So if you have leaking when you get out of bed, when you get out of a car, when you hear running water, when opening your front door, you've actually trained your body to pee in these situations. So it's a nervous system. Basically, you have taught your body when you hear something or you see something or you do a certain activity, like getting out of your car, opening a door, that it's time to go to the bathroom. There's actually a syndrome called key and lock syndrome, where actually when you go to your door and maybe you're having trouble unlocking your door or whatever, all of a sudden you leak. Your bladder just gives way right at the door. And that's usually because you have trained your body. When you come in your front door, you go straight to the bathroom. It's time to go to the bathroom when you wake. So you're going straight to the bathroom when you open your door. And that's called key and lock syndrome. So one thing I want you to think about is, what situations do are you finding leaking happening? What are those nervous system triggers? Is there a trigger? And that's normally called urge incontinence or urge leaking, or this bladder leaking. I want to tell a funny story. I was thinking about it yesterday. I went in a grocery store, I guess it was last week, and I hadn't been to that grocery store for many years. And when I was working because I was working in the town where the grocery store was, and I no longer work there anymore. But anyway, I went in there and I got the groceries and I went to the self-checkout, and it was a self-checkout that I went to all the time when I used to shop there. And all of a sudden I get to that checkout station, and all of a sudden I had to pee so bad. And I used what I've taught myself now. And I'm thinking, why all of a sudden I didn't have to go to the bathroom before I got to that checkout station. But then I remembered 4 years before, when I was going through menopause, I had a leaking situation right at that spot on the checkout station. And so I thought, my brain must have connected when it saw that checkout, that self-checkout, that because it happened before, that was the time to go to the bathroom. Luckily, I had some tools, my breathing and visualization tools, to just kind of breathe through it, relax the body, say, no, just because I'm at this self-checkout doesn't mean it's time to go to the bathroom. Yeah, and Meg says that's body memory. Exactly, Meg. So I created a memory in my body that at that one. So luckily I had the tools, because I've learned this since then, that I had a trigger. It's not every grocery store checkout line, that I go to, but it was that one. So it was very, very interesting. So one thing, to remember is you can use the breathing exercises that we have used up to this point. You can use breathing, and the other thing I suggest is to visualize something very relaxing, or someplace that you don't have to go to the bathroom. Like maybe, whatever is relaxing to you, maybe looking at a sunset, maybe lying on your couch, whatever situation that doesn't involve going to the bathroom. So you want to do some deep breathing, really feel the pelvic, because doing that deep breathing, whatever situation you're in, it relaxes that pelvic floor and your bladder isn't spasming, which, can cause leaking. And it takes a while. So be prepared. Don't go in that situation and say, well, I'm not going to leak the first time. It takes a while to train the nervous system that in this situation, whether it's getting out of your car, say, every time you get out of your car, like at the gas station, you go use the bathroom right away, even before you gas up your car. Here's a suggestion. So when you get out of the car, all of a sudden you have to go to the bathroom and you didn't just a few minutes ago. It's the same thing. Whatever situation, maybe it's multiple, but pick one situation where every time it happens, you have to go to the bathroom, even though a minute before you didn't. And so be prepared, wear a pad or something else if it's a situation that hey, this is when I leak. And start practicing, be prepared, like before you get out of a car, before you walk to your front door, prepare yourself, start doing that deep breathing in and out. And then visualize something that has nothing to do with the bathroom. I like using both. Maybe just the breathing would help, but try both and see how that works. It's going to take a while to train your nervous system. That's not a trigger. I'm still working on running water. For some reason, when I turn on the sink, I still have to do that deep breathing before I turn the water on. One of my clients told me the other day that every time they brush their teeth, they always go to the bathroom. So even if they went to the bathroom 2 minutes before they brushed their teeth, right after they brush their teeth, all of a sudden their body has to go, even though they just went a few minutes before. So they realized that they had caused, when they brushed their teeth, a trigger to use the bathroom. So homework for tomorrow. I want you to take one situation where you've had to run to the bathroom, where you've had urge incontinence, whether it's running water, getting out of the car, opening the door, and practice that. Use the breath and visualization. Teach that nervous system to not use that trigger. And then once that urge has gone away, like if you're at the front door, you open the door, you didn't leak, yay. But the other thing is, don't go straight to the bathroom, because then you're just reinforcing it again, or whatever that situation is. See if you can use the breathing visualization, not leak or control the leaking. And then usually that urge to go to the bathroom will go away, and just give it some time. So thank you for completing. This is day 4. And tomorrow we'll be talking about being your own health advocate and writing your pelvis story. So that will be day 5 tomorrow. For those of you, that this is pretty much I've got for the program today. And you have the power to use what we've covered in the last 5 days to start a life without leaking. I'm hoping all these topics we've talked about this week has really made a difference. If you feel ready to implement what you've learned here this week towards finding this life without leaking on your own, I just really appreciate you attending. And I hope, that you'll continue tomorrow to finish off the challenge, and work on the homework that we've covered all week. But if you'd like to talk about further solutions, just stay on. Otherwise, you can, this is done for the day, and we're going to go on. Do you want to learn more about pelvic floor strength? Do you want to learn more about a life without leaking? So if you're struggling if you're tired of leaking urine when you laugh, sneeze, or cough, if you're tired of wearing panty liners, what's next? Adult diapers. It's usually kind of that progression. Are you missing out or avoiding activities you love because you fear you're going to have an accident? Are you struggling in daily activities without leaking, discomfort, or pain? Are you struggling with sexual intimacy, or you're just not interested? So that's what the course that I'm offering, we're going to be talking about. It's different, than everything else you've tried. It doesn't involve drugs or surgery. You use your own strength to create the body you want. So do you wish you knew about practicing breathing, concentrating on the pelvic floor and diaphragm working together, either lying down or seated? Do you like, the exercises that we have done all week? So this is a unique coaching program that I have put together. I've been working on this for over a year. It's not a program where you're left on your own to figure it out. This program is specific to leaking and creating an online discussion community every week. So within this, it's a 30-day course, and you have modules to talk about leaking and journey to a life without leaking. And it's 30 days. You'll get 2 modules that are delivered every week. And then we have 2 live Zooms to discuss each module and for any questions for me. And what's in the course? So we're going to be talking about what's going on with your leaking. Where are you weak? Are you tight or loose? We'll really get into more evaluations and, talking about healthcare professionals that can really help you identify that. We're going to be talking about understanding Kegels, weights, massage, and relaxation. I have a whole module on finding and talking to a health professional that serves you, telling your pelvic story. What kind of questions? If you think there's a medical, issue going on, what to talk to your medical professional about your leaking. We talk about what you can do on your own to control leaking, just like this week, but a little more in depth, the tips to learn things you can do on your own. And then we'll be talking about taking action. I also, in the modules, include yoga classes for both a tight and loose pelvic floor. Once you understand whether you're tight or loose, there are different yoga postures for each of those. So we'll be talking about that. And of course, there's quite a few other class bonuses. So why now? Really, are you fed up with the current situation? Do you feel like you are ready to take the steps needed? Each module, we're going to be starting the 10th of September. Each module is delivered every Tuesday and Saturday on the course platform. And then, of course, we have 2 live sessions on Monday and Thursday. And of course, the live sessions are recorded. So, if you if you can't be there for the live session. So I'm going to stop sharing here. And where am I? Here we are. Let me turn my video on. Any questions so far about the course that these course modules I'm talking about? Don't see any here. So the program, like I said, is 30 days. We start on the 10th. So there's a cart open for about 10 days. So it closes, actually, the class closes on the 11th for new students. And then we run it for 30 days. The course is a lifetime. You have access to the course for repeating it as many times as you want. And then also, as I offer the course again, you can repeat the course with a new set of students. So that's available there too. Again, the course I'm going to close the cart in about 5 days. So if you're thinking about it, if you want to book a call with me to talk about, and I'm going to put the link in the chat, just to talk about if this really is for you, this course. I just put a scheduling link, and I'll put them on the Facebook page also. So you can find, if you want to schedule a time to talk to me about what the course involves and that kind of thing. I think I've covered everything. So, if you want to invest yourself and start on that path for a strong pelvic floor, I'd love to see you in the class. And like I said, I've taken everything that I've learned, in my years of yoga teaching, and especially the last few years working with Leslie Howard. I've incorporated everything into this workshop. In the past, I had a workshop for 3 hours, a live workshop face to face. This was long before. This was probably 4 or 5 years ago. So I've conglomerated all that I did in a live workshop with everything I've learned in the past year. And like I said, I've been putting this course together for the last year, and I'm just so excited to share all this information and really work with you, work with a small group of folks. I've limited the number that's going to be in the course every 30 days because I really want to give personal attention to everybody. So anyway, so glad you're here. Any questions again about anything we covered today, the homework, or anything else? I'm just checking the chat. Comment here. No, I didn't see anything on the chat and Facebook. All right. Well, thank you. Appreciate it so much. I'll be putting the links back up in the Facebook page, and good to see everybody. And I hope you come tomorrow, because we'll be talking about what to talk to your healthcare provider, and things to talk about. Especially if you think you have a medical issue with your leaking. So, all right, we'll see everybody tomorrow. Bye-bye, everybody.